हेलो फ्रेंड्स, वेलकम टू माय चैनल। दिस इज सीए राखी अग्रवाल। आज का हमारा टॉपिक है इंडियन अकाउंटिंग स्टैंडर्ड 19 विच टॉक्स अबाउट द एम्प्लॉयज बेनिफिट पार्ट 3. To the previous discussion, we had discussed about the short term employee benefit. Then we had discussed about the post employment benefits, that is the defined contribution plan, defined benefit plan. These two we had discussed in the last two discussion. Today we will going to discuss about the some of the examples related to defined contribution plan, defined benefits plan. We had discussed about the obligation, defined obligation, liability, and also the contribution plan. Today we are going to continue with some of the examples related to defined contribution plan, defined obligation plan, along with some of the examples related to that. So let's start our topic. Firstly, we will discuss about the examples. Illustration, like Cisca Private Limited has a head count of around 1000 employees in the organization in 2020 and 2021. As per the company's policy, the employees are given 35 days of privilege leave, 15 days of sick leave, and 10 days of casual leave. Out of the total privilege leave and sick leave, 10 privilege leave and 5 sick leave can be carried forward to the next year. On the basis of past trends, it has been noted that 200 employees will take 5 days of privilege leave and 2 days of sick leave, and 800 employees will avail 10 days of privilege leave and 5 days of sick leave. Also, the company has incurring a profit since 2020, and it has decided that in 2021 to distribute profit to its employee at the rate 4% during the year. However, due to the employees turnover in the organization and due to the Ind AS 19, the expected payout of the Cisca Private Limited is expected to be around 3.5%. The profit earned during the year 2020-21 is 2000 crores. Third one is Cisca Private Limited has a post-employment benefit plan also available, which is in the nature of defined contribution plan. Their contribution to the fund amount to 100 crores, which will fall due within 12 months from the end of the accounting period. The company has paid 20 crores to its employee in 2020-21. What would be the treatment of short-term compensating absences? Profit sharing plan in the books of Cisca Private Limited. Short-term compensated absences. There are 3 absences provided by the company's policy, that is privilege leave, sick leave, and casual leave. 35 privilege leave is provided by the company, and 15 sick leave and 10 casual leave. Out of the total privilege and sick leave, leave entitlement by the entity 35 days and 15 days. Leave carry forward permissible as per the policy of the company is 10 days privilege leave and 5 days sick leave. Actually, leave carry forward to the next year. Out of the past trend, it has been noted that the company is making the provision of 200 employees will take, according to the company's estimation, 200 employees will take 5 days privilege leave and 2 days sick leave, and 800 employee will avail 10 days privilege leave and 5 days sick leave. So in these case, so the entity will recognize liability in the books equals to 9,000 privilege leave and 4,400 sick leave. How it is computed? 5 into 200 plus 800 into 10, that becomes 9,000, and 2 into 200 plus 800 into 5, that becomes 4,400. These liabilities to be created by the entity in its book. This is the solution related to part 1 question. Part 2, in the part 2, the entity's turnover is profit during the year 2021 is 2000 crores. Entity decided to distribute the profit to its employee at the rate 4% during the year as and when they incur the profit. However, due to the employees turnover in the organization, the expected payout would be 3.5%, which is the correct way to recognize provision. As per the Ind AS 19, an entity has to make a provision on the basis of estimated payout, which is more realistic than to distribute profit on the basis of any condition. In this case, entity has decided to pay out 4% on its reported profit, that is 2000 crores at the rate 4%, which is 80 crores, which is incorrect. The entity has to make a correct provisions on the basis of estimates, that is 3.5% of 2000 crore, that is 70 crore. So entity जो पॉलिसी अपना रही है कि हम डिस्ट्रीब्यूट करेंगे प्रॉफिट्स टू इट्स एम्प्लॉय, incur the profits as and when we distribute the profit to the employee at the rate 4%, which is incorrect. Ind-AS बोलता है कि आप provision कीजिए on the estimated payout, which is 3.5%. So 2000 crore पे 3.5% का provision is more correct. Third one is Cisca has a post-employment benefit plan also available, which is in the nature of defined contribution plan, where contribution to the fund amount 100 crores, which fall due within 12 months from the end of the accounting period. जो due होगा within 12 months, that present value पे recognize नहीं करना पड़ता, उस पे discounting factor नहीं. Cisca has a post-employment benefit plan available, which is in the nature contribution plan. यहाँ पे बोल दिया कि वो पोस्ट एम्प्लॉयमेंट प्लान है और कंट्रीब्यूशन प्लान. कंट्रीब्यूशन टू द फंड अमाउंट टू 100 करोड़, जिसमें कि ऑलरेडी पेड है 20 करोड़ टू इट्स एम्प्लॉय. द कंपनी हैज ऑलरेडी पेड, तो बैलेंसिंग 80 करोड़ का प्रोविजन करेगा. तो डिफाइंड बेनिफिट एक्सपेंसेस 100 करोड़ का हुआ, उसमें पे आउट हो गया, पे कर दिया उसने बैंक अकाउंट. कंट्रीब्यूशन ऑलरेडी पेड 20 करोड़, बैलेंसिंग को डिफाइंड बेनिफिट पे फॉर्म ऑफ कंट्रीब्यूशन. When an employee has rendered service to an entity during a period, the entity shall recognize the contribution payable to a defined contribution plan in exchange for that service. Under Ind AS 19, the amount of rupees 80 crore will be recognized as liability, that is accrued expenses after deducting any contribution already paid, that is 100 minus 20, and an expenses in the statement of profit and loss. Company pay each employees a lump sum one-time benefit upon retirement. This benefit is computed based on the employee's year in service in the company and the final salary prior to retirement. To cover its liabilities from this remuneration, the company contributes 3% of the annual gross salary to the fund. Would this obligation represents a defined contribution plan or a defined benefit plan, and why? Here in this question, company pay कर रही है अपने हर एक एम्प्लॉय को a lump sum amount one time benefit upon retirement. रिटायरमेंट के बाद कंपनी पे करेगी अपने एम्प्लॉय को a lump sum one time benefit. This benefit is computed based on the जितना ईयर एम्प्लॉय ने सर्विस दिया है उस पे, उसके ऊपर बेस करेगा, और फाइनल ड्रॉन जो सैलरी एट द टाइम ऑफ रिटायरमेंट. These obligation represents defined benefit plan as the benefit is computed on the basis of the service served by the employee and on the final salary on retirement, which is fixed. Both employee and employers knows the amount. In this case, it is a defined benefit plan because it is computed on the basis of the service served by the employee and on the final salary on retirement. This is not a contribution plan. Means in order to pay off this liability, an entity has set aside some amount in order to pay the retirement to an employee. So it is a kind of plan asset. In order to pay off that liability, an entity is set aside some amount, just like debenture redemption reserve, debenture redemption fund investment. That investment is done by the entity in order to pay off its debenture liability at the time of redemption. इस तरह से ये एक fund mechanism है. In order to pay off the liability, amount is setting aside. So from that amount, the entity will able to pay at the time of retirement the employee. So this is just a funding mechanism, just like debenture redemption reserve. Now another illustration is in accordance with applicable legislation. Company contributes 12% as per the statutory requirements. Company contributes 12% and employees also contribute 12% of the annual gross salary to the provident fund and pension fund. Upon retirement, the employee will get the accumulated balance that is to be calculated based on the employee's year of service and his average salary for past 15 years before retirement. The pension will be paid out of the state fund assets and the company has no further obligation except to make contribution. यहाँ पे सीधा सीधा बोल दिया है कि कंपनी का सिर्फ ऑब्लिगेशन है कि वो सर्टेन अमाउंट कंट्रीब्यूट करे एक फंड अकाउंट में, जो कि मेड बाय द स्टैट्यूट. मतलब गवर्नमेंट एक फंड अकाउंट में, जैसे प्रोविडेंट फंड अकाउंट, पेंशन फंड अकाउंट, द कंपनीज लायबिलिटी इज टू पे ऑफ दैट कंट्रीब्यूशन ओनली. कंपनी का और कोई ऑब्लिगेशन नहीं है आफ्टर मेकिंग दैट कंट्रीब्यूशन. Means after 15 years, if the employee will not get the amount, then there is no liability of the entity. So entity liability is during the period of service of the employee, he contributes certain amount in that fund account or provident fund account or pension fund. After retirement, the employee is there and that fund is there. The provident fund will handle. The provident fund is liability is there to pay off the employee's amount. So this is just a defined contribution plan, as the employer and employee both contributing every year during the period of service to the provident fund and pension fund as per the definition of defined contribution. In the question itself, hint is given that the company has no further obligation except to make a contribution. Acer Limited provide lump sum remuneration upon retirements to its employees. Remuneration is paid out of the fund to which the Acer Limited contributes 12% of annual gross salary. Contributions are made twice in a year, once in November and of the related financial year, and another is in June after the financial year end. Total annual gross salary for 2021 amounting to 50 crores, and contribution made by the Acer in November 2020 was 2.8 crores. Remuneration depend on the number of employees, service and the amount of cash in the fund at retirement date. Acer Limited has no further obligation except for contribution. How should these transaction appears in the financial statement of the Acer Limited as on 31st March 2021? So it's said in the question itself that the Acer's liability is related to just to make the contribution. After that, Acer is not liable for any after retirement what happened. So Acer's responsibility is to make fixed amount contribution to a employees contribution account only. So it's a clear cut case of defined contribution plan. So the total annual gross salary for 2021 amounting to rupees 50 crore as given in the question, and 12% of that salary is to be contributed every year twice in a year, like in November and in the June of the financial year. So in November they had already contributed 2.8 crores. Now the balancing amount is required to be provision is required to be made in the current financial year, because the another contribution is to be made in the next financial year. So provision is to be prepared in this financial year, that 31st March 2021. So total provision for defined contribution by the SR Limited is annual gross salary into 12%, that is 50 crores in 12. So 6 crores is contributed. Total provision for defined contribution by Acer is 6 crores. Contribution already made by Acer means already the amount contributed by the Acer in November 2020 is 2.8 crores. Already made the contribution in November, that is 2.8 crores. Now the provision is required to be made for the balancing amount, that is 6 crore minus 2.8 crore. It may so provision for the balancing amount, that is on 31st March 2021 is 3.2 crores. So accounting entry will be employees benefit expenses. Defined contribution expenses comes under the employees benefit in PL. So employees benefit expenses account debits by 6 crores to bank means already paid is 2.8 crores, and provision is to be created the liability defined contribution payable, that is liability for contribution is 3.2 crore. This is the journal entry, and in this way the provision is to be created. Now another illustration is Dinkar Limited, a large IT company, accounts for gratuity on payment basis and supports such accounting policy by making the following disclosures in the financial statement. Due to high labor turnover, a large degree of uncertainty is involved in estimating the liability of gratuity. Accordingly, the management opines that as the estimates of an uncertainty would confuse the reader by complicating the financial statement, such liability would be recorded on payment basis. So in this case, Adinka Limited, a large IT company is there, who accounts for gratuity, who make an accounting entry for gratuity on a payment basis, which is incorrect as per Ind AS 19. And also they make a disclosure because due to high labor turnover, A large degree of uncertainty is involved in estimating the liability of gratuity in that organization, because the labor are high, so they won't be able to make a certain provision for gratuity. Accordingly, the management opined that the estimates of the uncertainty would confuse the reader by complicating the financial statement. So management decided that they will make accounting entry on the payment basis for gratuity. The management opines that by making the above disclosure, the company is complying with the requirement of all Indians. They decided that they will make the accounting entry on the basis of payment, and they will make the disclosure in the notes. So they will comply the all the Indians. As a disclosure to that effect of the above is given, the management is also willing to specifically highlight the above aspects by making it conspicuous in the financial statement. Is the contention of the management is correct as per the provisions of Ind AS? No, because only disclosure is not enough. Compliances of Ind AS 19 situation in this scenario, what my management has done, management has decided to make the accounting entry on payment basis, and they want to disclose that they had made the accounting entry on payment basis. That is not enough as per Ind AS 19 compliances, because they are violating the Ind AS 19 compliances. In the above situation, the contention of the management is incorrect. The management needs to follow Ind AS 19, which is more realistic, and provision is to be made on estimating the liability, and such liability is not recorded on payment basis, and thus the contention of the management to record the liability on payment basis is incorrect. As per Ind AS, they has to make the provision on the estimated basis, or which is more realistic as per Ind AS 19. Just by passing an entry on payment basis and making a disclosure is not a proper compliances as per Ind AS 19. So management contention is not correct. A plan pay a benefit of 15,000 for each year of service. The benefit vest after 10 years of service. Compute the benefit to be attributed each year. In this case, what happens? जैसे ही वो 10 year सर्विस कंप्लीट करेगा, एम्प्लॉयर बोलता है कि दैट एम्प्लॉय विल बी लायबल फॉर दैट 15,000 फॉर ईच ईयर ऑफ सर्विस. मीन्स एज एंड व्हेन द एम्प्लॉई complete 10 year of service in that organization, he is liable for 15,000 for each year of service. So how to recognize that in the books? By the entity. The benefit attributed to each year of service is 15,000. As the service is provided, it is accrued. जैसे ही एम्प्लॉय ने सर्विस प्रोवाइड किया, वो लायबल हो गया उस बेनिफिट्स के. So the benefit attributed to each year of service is 15,000. As the service is provided, it is accrued, though it vests after 10 years of service. दो उसको मिलेगा एक्चुअली वो 10 साल के बाद, जब 10 साल वो एक कंटिन्यू ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में काम करेगा तब उसको मिलेगा, लेकिन from the year one only, as and when he providing the service, he is liable for that benefit. तो बुक्स में रिकॉग्नाइज कब करना पड़ेगा एंटिटी को? जब एम्प्लॉय ने सर्विस प्रोवाइड किया, तो एक्रूअल बेसिस पे जिस साल का उसने सर्विस प्रोवाइड किया उसी साल का एक्रूअल बेसिस पे रिकॉग्नाइज कीजिए, और 10 साल के बाद उसको पेमेंट कर दीजिए. अगर वो बीच में छोड़ के चला जाता है तो उसका जो प्रोविजन है वो आप रिवर्स. In each of the first 10 years of service, the current service cost and the present value of the obligation require estimation of the probability. और उसका estimation भी लगाइए कि कितने employee will stay in the organization for availing this benefit. So उसका probability है कि some of the employees will not complete 10 years of service and some of the employee will complete 10 years of service. So उस probability को आप ध्यान में रख के उसका प्रेजेंट वैल्यू ओ पे करंट सर्विस कॉस्ट को रिकॉग्नाइज कीजिए. सेकेंड इलस्ट्रेशन इज प्लान पे अ बेनिफिट ऑफ 25,000 फॉर ईच ईयर ऑफ सर्विस एक्सक्लूडिंग सर्विस प्रायर टू द एज ऑफ 25 years. The benefit vest immediately. How should the benefit be attributed to each year of service? पहले वाले क्वेश्चन में क्या था कि बेनिफिट वेस्ट आफ्टर 10 years of service. यहाँ पे बोला द बेनिफिट वेस्ट इमीडिएटली उसको बेनिफिट मिल जाएगा. क्राइटेरिया क्या है बेनिफिट मिलने का? कि एम्प्लॉय को तब बेनिफिट मिलेगा जब 25 ईयर्स और उसके बाद उसको ये बेनिफिट मिलेगा। अगर वो 20 ईयर्स का है और उसको बेनिफिट लेने के लिए 5 more years काम करना पड़ेगा, तब वो जब 25 ईयर्स का होगा तब उसको ये बेनिफिट मिलेगा। और ये बेनिफिट मिलेगा वेस्ट इमीडिएटली, जैसे ही वो उसने 25 ईयर्स क्रॉस किया, ही विल लायबल फॉर दैट बेनिफिट। अगर वो 20 ईयर्स का है तो 20 से 25 ईयर्स तक उसको आपको कोई भी प्रोविजन नहीं करना, बिकॉज ही इज नॉट लायबल फॉर दैट बेनिफिट। So no benefit is attributed to the service before the age of 25 years, because service before that date does not lead to benefit, कंडीशनल और अनकंडीशनल। वो उसका एज 25 ईयर्स के बाद का सर्विस जो भी उसने दिया, एन एंटिटी पे अ बेनिफिट प्लान ऑफ ₹25,000 फॉर ईच ईयर ऑफ सर्विस एज इट शुड वेस्ट इमीडिएटली, क्योंकि यहाँ पे बोला बेनिफिट वेस्ट इमीडिएटली after the age of 25 years. So it is like a retention bonus. Retention bonus, as it accrues after completing 1 year of service, has to lump sum of rupees 10 lakhs is payable for all employees who are in service for 10 years. Payable upon termination of the employment. इसमें दो क्राइटेरिया है कि ये तो पहले उनको 10 साल काम करना पड़ेगा एक ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में, और ये जो 10 lakhs है उसको उस एम्प्लॉय को टर्मिनेशन के बाद मिलेगा, जब वो छोड़ के जाएगा। आफ्टर 10 ईयर्स है तो उसको 10 लाख मिल जाएगा। अगर वो 12 साल भी काम करता है, जब भी वो टर्मिनेट होगा, जब भी वो एंटिटी को छोड़ के जाएगा 10 साल या 20 साल या 50 साल बाद, तब वो 10 लाख के लिए अलमसम अमाउंट ऑफ 10 lakhs के लिए लायबल हो जाएगा। द प्लान प्रोवाइड नो फर्दर बेनिफिट फॉर सब्सिक्वेंट ईयर्स। अगर 10 साल से ज्यादा भी वो काम करता है तो सब्सिक्वेंट ईयर्स के लिए कोई बेनिफिट नहीं है। 10 साल तक उसने काम किया, 10 लाख के लिए वो लायबल हो गया। तो बेनिफिट ऑफ 10 lakhs इज एट्रीब्यूटेड टू फर्स्ट 10 years। तो 10 lakhs डिवाइडेड बाय 10, तो 1 लाख फॉर ईच ईयर ऑफ सर्विस एज इट वेस्ट आफ्टर 10 years। 10 साल के बाद वेस्ट होगा उसके ऊपर 10 years कंडीशन। current service cost should reflect probability I will leave before completing 10 years, कि how much employee will stay in the organization for 10 years and how much employee will not। 10 years तक काम करता है, 10 से ज्यादा years भी काम करेगा तो 10 तक तो उसको ये बेनिफिट मिल रहा है, उसके बाद जो भी years वो काम करेगा उसके लिए कोई बेनिफिट नहीं है। The above cost should reflect probability of employee remain in service for 10 years but the amount payable upon termination of employee। ये amount payable है after termination of employment, but the service cost is to be recognized over the period of 10 years। So 1 lakh for each plan pay a lump sum benefit of rupees 15 lakhs that vest after 12 years of service. The plan provides no further benefit for subsequent years. Attribute the benefits to each year of service. It says that this plan will pay a benefit of 15 lakhs that vest after 12 years। ये प्लान जो बोल रहा है कि 15 लाख का जो आपको बेनिफिट, एक लमसम बेनिफिट एंटिटी देगी जो भी एम्प्लॉय को, जो एम्प्लॉय 12 साल तक काम करेगा, 12 साल 12 years of service प्रोवाइड करेगा, तो प्लान पे अ लमसम बेनिफिट ऑफ रुपीज 15 lakhs that vest after 12 years of service and provide no further benefit for subsidy services। फिर उसके बाद भी अगर वो 15 साल तक भी काम करता है तो 12 साल तक ही उसको ये बेनिफिट मिलेगा। वो चाहे तो 15 साल तक कर सकता है, सब्सिक्वेंट ईयर के लिए उसको कोई बेनिफिट नहीं मिलेगा। सो दीज 15 लाख डिवाइडेड बाई 12 years of service, so it becomes the benefit attributes to each year of service equals 1,25,000 per annum is to be accrued for each year of service along with the probability of whether the employee will complete 12 years of service or not। तो एम्प्लॉय की प्रोबेबिलिटी के साथ आप रिकॉग्नाइज कीजिए एट प्रेजेंट वैल्यू 1,25,000 का प्रेजेंट वैल्यू, उसका प्रेजेंट वैल्यू रिकॉग्नाइज कीजिए पहले एट प्रेजेंट वैल्यू फॉर अप टू 12 years। 15 lakh divided by 12, so 1,25,000 for each year। उसका प्रेजेंट वैल्यू पे करंट सर्विस कॉस्ट along with interest at the year end to unwind that expenses and with the probability that the employee will not complete 12 years of service। So as it vests after 12 years condition, so the current service cost should reflect probability that the employee will leave before completing 12 years। So no benefit is attributed to the subsequent year। Now A post-employment medical plan reimburses 40% of employees' post-employment medical costs if the employee leave after more than 10 and less than 20 years of service, and 50% of those costs if the employee leave after 20 and more year of service. How will the benefit be attributed to the year of service? It says कि पोस्ट एम्प्लॉयमेंट मेडिकल प्लान रिम्बर्स करता है 40% ऑफ द एम्प्लॉइज पोस्ट एम्प्लॉयमेंट मेडिकल कॉस्ट. 40% ऑफ द एम्प्लॉइज का मेडिकल कॉस्ट रिम्बर्स होता है इफ द एम्प्लॉय लीव मोर देन 10 years बट लेस देन 20 years. अगर वो एम्प्लॉय 10 साल से ज्यादा काम करता है पर 20 years से कम काम करता है, मतलब वो 20 साल से कम काम करता है, तो उसका जो कॉस्ट है मेडिकल कॉस्ट वो 40% तक रिम्बर्स हो जाता है. एंड अगर वो 50% ऑफ दोज कॉस्ट इफ द एम्प्लॉय लीव आफ्टर 20 years और मोर ऑफ द सर्विस. अगर वो एम्प्लॉय 20 years से कम काम करता है तो 40% का एक्सपेंसेस मेडिकल कॉस्ट उसका रिम्बर्स हो जाता है. लेकिन अगर एम्प्लॉय वो 20 years से ज्यादा काम करता है तो उसका 50% मेडिकल कॉस्ट रिम्बर्स हो जाएगा. हाउ विल द बेनिफिट बी एट्रीब्यूटेड टू द ईयर ऑफ सर्विस? तो इसका एंटिटी एट्रीब्यूशन कैसे करेगी? अंडर द प्लान बेनिफिट फॉर्मूला द एंटिटी शुड एट्रीब्यूट 4% ऑफ द प्रेजेंट वैल्यू ऑफ एक्सपेक्टेड मेडिकल कॉस्ट. 40% का डिवाइडेड बाय 10 years तो फॉर फर्स्ट 10 years तक वो 40 डिवाइडेड बाय 10 करके मतलब 4% प्रेजेंट वैल्यू ऑफ एक्सपेक्टेड मेडिकल कॉस्ट को रिकॉग्नाइज करेगी. और फिर आफ्टर बैलेंसिंग 10 years जो कि 20 years तक काम करेगा, बैलेंसिंग 10 years पे 10% और इंक्रीज कर देगी. जो भी एम्प्लॉय मिनिमम 10 years काम करेगा तो उसको 40% उसका कॉस्ट मेडिकल कॉस्ट ईच ईयर ऑफ सर्विस. तो 40% ऑफ द मेडिकल कॉस्ट मतलब हर साल उसका 4% करके मेडिकल कॉस्ट 4% उसका भी प्रेजेंट वैल्यू आप रिकॉग्नाइज करोगे. तो एंटिटी शुड एट्रीब्यूट 4% ऑफ द प्रेजेंट वैल्यू ऑफ एक्सपेक्टेड मेडिकल कॉस्ट, दैट इज 40% डिवाइड 10 years टू ईच ऑफ द फर्स्ट 10 years. नेक्स्ट 10 years पे क्या होगा, 10% खर्चा और रिम्बर्स कर देगी. 50% जो कि एम्प्लॉय 20 years अगर सर्विस प्रोवाइड करता है तो उसको 50%, तो 40% ऑलरेडी हम लोग ने रिकॉग्नाइज कर रखा है एम्प्लॉयज के. जो भी एम्प्लॉय 10 साल सर्विस करे देगा, तो अगर जो एम्प्लॉय 20 years और सर्विस दे रहा है तो उसके लिए और 10% हम लोग रिकॉग्नाइज करेंगे. फॉर द बैलेंसिंग 10 years रिकॉग्नाइज करेंगे. सो 10% बढ़ गया ना, 40 से 50 हो गए तो 40% ऑलरेडी रिकॉग्नाइज है, 10% हम लोग को बढ़ाना. और तो 10% डिवाइडेड बाई 10 years, so 1% each year of the second 10 years में रिकॉग्नाइज करेंगे. और द एम्प्लॉय एक्सपेक्टेड टू लीव विद इन 10 years नो बेनिफिट. अगर कोई भी एम्प्लॉय 10 साल से पहले ही छोड़ के चला जाता है, कोई बेनिफिट उनको नहीं मिलेगा. द करेंट सर्विस कॉस्ट इन ईच ईयर reflects the probability that the employee may not complete the necessary period of service to earn part or all of the benefits. Now another illustration is Paras Private Limited does not have sufficient information about a defined benefit plan and thus account for the plan as if it were defined contribution plan. Means in this question what happened? Paras Private Limited does not have a sufficient information. पारस प्राइवेट लिमिटेड के पास सफिशिएंट इंफॉर्मेशन नहीं है अबाउट द डिफाइंड बेनिफिट प्लान. और वो क्या करता है, ड्यू टू द लैक ऑफ इंफॉर्मेशन वो अकाउंटिंग कर देता है फॉर द प्लान एज इफ इट वर अ डिफाइंड कंट्रीब्यूशन प्लान. इन द प्लान there is a contractual agreement between the Paras Private Limited and its participants to share the deficit amongst. The fund valuation shows a deficit of 500 millions in the plan. The plan has agreed under the contract a schedule of contribution with the participating employees in the plan that will eliminate the deficit over the next 10 years. The entity's total contribution under the contract are 30 millions. As per the Ind AS 19, Paras Private Limited should recognize a liability for contribution adjusted for the time value of money as an equal expenses in the profit or loss. Group benefit plan मतलब एक group plan है. इसमें क्या है कि बहुत सारे entities are itself they are making a contribution and funding mechanism is there along with Paras Private Limited. So many participants are there to share this agreement, contractual agreement, in order to make the defined benefit plan. So they are contributing their amount in that funding mechanism. The plan has agreed under contract a schedule of contribution. सबका एक एक contribution है, because lots of participants are there in these plans. So Paras is also one of the participants among them. So participating the employer's contribution in the plan, that will eliminate the deficit over the next 10 years. जो deficit है इस fund mechanism में, जिसमें कि पारस का contribution, पारस का portion of deficit है as per the contract is 30 millions. तो इस deficit को पारस अपने books में कैसे recognize करेगा? As per Ind AS 19, Paras Private Limited should recognize a liability for contribution adjusted for the time value of money and an equal expenses in the profit and loss account. So contribution जो 30 millions है over the 10 years recognize करेगा as a liability for contribution. टाइम वैल्यू ऑफ मनी भी मतलब 10 years का पीरियड को एडजस्टमेंट देगा लायबिलिटी को, और equal expenses is to be booked in the profit and loss account. Acer Limited hired a professional in April 2017 for 6 years of service, which would terminate in March 2023. Apart from the regular salary and annual bonus, Acer Limited will pay a lump sum remuneration of rupees 45 lakhs to her upon termination of employment. Discount rate used for actuarial valuation is 10% per year. So how the obligation build up over the employee service? Ignore actuarial assumptions other than presented discount rate. Solution: attributing benefits to the period of service. Particulars 17, 18, 18, 19, 19, 20, 20, 21, 21, 22, 22, 23. So 6 years particulars are there, means 6 years, because a lump sum remuneration is paid of 45 lakhs for a period of 6 years, so it will be divided with 6 years. So current service cost is 7,50,000 for each year of service is to be recognized at present value. So how to determine the present value? By discounting rate, that is at 10%. Units of benefit each year is to be recognized, that is on 17 18 it will be 7,50,000, which is to be recognized at present value. Present value how? By discounting factor, that is at rate 10%, and it will be computed on a reverse way. Means in year 21 22, how many years the present value is to be discounted? For 2 years, that is on 21 22 and 21 22 23. In these way divided by one for 1 year. Then in 2020 it is for 2 years discounting factor, and 7,50,000 multiplied by 0.6209, so it becomes current service cost at present value of defined benefit obligation, that is 4,65,690. This way present value is to be recognized for each year of unit. Interest is to be calculated. How interest is to be calculated? One format is to be prepared, like the opening balance, then interest cost, then discounting factor, then current service cost, then closing obligation. Opening obligation in first year it becomes 0, interest on that becomes 0, then discounting factor at current service cost becomes at each year of service, that is at each year of units it will be discounted at present value on a reverse way. So it becomes in first year it becomes 17 18 it becomes 4,65,691. So opening plus interest plus current service cost, that becomes the closing 4,65,691. That closing becomes the opening in year 2, that is on 18 19 465,695. On that the interest is to be calculated at the rate 10%, so it becomes 46,569. So opening plus interest, so and the current service cost, that is each year of unit it will be charged on a reverse way. So here we had calculated that for each year of unit the current service cost is recognized at present value. So that 5 lakh 12,260 is to be taken into consideration, and then opening plus interest plus current service cost, that becomes the closing balance. In the year the opening becomes 465,691 plus interest on that, that is 46,569, plus current service cost, that is 5,12,260, So it becomes the closing obligation, that is 10,24,520. That 10,24,520 is the opening balance in the next year, that is in 1920. Interest is to be charged on that, that is 1,02,452. Current service cost, that is present value of defined benefit obligation, we had calculated, that is on each year of units, that is 7,50,000 present value, so it becomes 5,63,486. So 10,24,520 plus interest thereon, that is 1,02,452 plus current service cost, that is 5,63,486. So it becomes 16,90,458. That becomes the opening in year 4, that is in 2021. Interest is to be charged thereon, that is 16,90,458 plus interest thereon, that is at the rate 10%. So it becomes 1,69,046. Current service cost thereon is 6,19,835. So closing obligation becomes 24,79,339. That closing becomes the opening in year 5, that is in 21-22, 24,79,339. Interest thereon is 2,47,934. Current service cost, that is at defined benefit obligation, that is 6,81,818. So opening obligation plus interest plus current service cost, so it becomes 34 lakhs 09091. That becomes the opening in year 2022-23. Interest thereon is to be charged at the rate 10%. The current service cost is 7,50,000, so the closing becomes 45 lakh. In this way, we will make a amortization table, and we will calculate the closing obligation each year. So in these ways, the recognition is to be made and measurement is to be done. So how the obligation build up over the employee service? So we had already discussed with the discounting factor interest thereon, what was the current service cost, and what was interest thereon, what was the closing obligation each year of service. Thanking you for watching my video. If you like, please share.